Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 5th annual and first ever virtual UMD Startup Cup competition. My name is Katelyn Glaser, and I am one of the student directors on the committee who put this event together. And on behalf of all of us, I would like to say thank you for joining us this evening. I would like to take a moment and thank our sponsors, as tonight would not be possible without their support. Our bronze sponsor this year is North Shore Federal Credit Union, and our two gold sponsors are Labovitz School of Business and Economics and Finden Marketing. For LSBE students, this is a passport event, and we will be taking attendance at the end of the evening. Now, we are very excited to get started, but first we will give you a preview of what's been happening these past few months and what's in store for tonight. So back in February, our committee selected 5 teams of students from LSBE, the College of Liberal Arts, and Swanson with innovative, interesting, and well thought out businesses or business ideas. Each team then got paired with a local Duluth professional to serve as their mentor to assist them in further developing their business, whether it was through helping create a business plan, prepare a pitch, or really anything else. Now tonight, we will all see together the hard work put in by these teams as they present their final pitch to us and a panel of judges, and there will even be time at the end for you as the audience to cast your own vote for your favorite team and business. The Audience Choice Award recipient will receive $500. The judges then have the task of choosing the Best Business Model Award, the Most Innovative Idea Award, and the Grand Prize. The Most Innovative Idea and Best Business Model Award recipients will each receive $1,000. The Grand Prize winner will receive $1,500 and also receive a consultation package from Finden Marketing composed of branding elements, consultation services for market analysis, social media tactics, press release resources, and more. Finden Marketing was founded by LSBE alumni and former competition student directors and contestants Andrew Weiss and Benji Waddell, along with their business partner Josh Helmer. On behalf of the entire planning committee, I hope you enjoy this evening, and I would now like to welcome Dean of the Labovitz School of Business and Economics, Amy Ronneberg, to say a few words.
Thank you, Katelyn. I am also delighted to welcome everyone to the 5th annual and first ever virtual Startup Cup. This initiative grew out of our entrepreneurship major, which we began offering in the fall of 2014. As the LSBE entrepreneurship faculty and students wrestled with how to best create a compelling capstone project for the major, over several iterations, this event evolved into what it is today, serving not only LSBE students, but also students across UMD. We have an entrepreneurship conference featuring highly successful local, regional, and national entrepreneurs every fall, and offer the Startup Cup competition in the spring, where talented UMD students compete for prizes based on their business ideas. So many individuals have worked incredibly hard on the planning team to bring this event to you, and I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to them. Special thanks to our 5 mentors and 3 judges. We could not do this event without you. Thank you for the gift of your time. You all will meet the mentors and judges shortly. Also, very special thanks to our sponsors who helped make this event financially possible. Finally, I would like to offer my very best wishes to our 6 incredible contestants in 5 teams as they compete this evening for an outstanding array of prizes with their fascinating business ideas. We all very much look forward to hearing their pitches. And now I would like to turn it over to Aaron Ressler, who will be your entertaining MC this evening. Aaron, take it away.
Thank you, Dean Ronneberg. Hello, my name is Aaron Ressler, and I'll be your MC tonight. I'm excited to be here and want to wish a warm good luck to all the contestants tonight. Before we dive into the competition, let me first introduce the mentors who supported and advised our competitors tonight. Janelle Jones was the mentor to Madison and Allyson. Janelle is the president and CEO of Lake County Chamber of Commerce, founder of Levin Lake County Destination Marketing Organization, and CEO of North Shore Management, to name a couple of her current businesses. She started her first business 22 years ago and has since continued to grow and serve the North Shore. Chris Swanson was the mentor to Zachariah. Chris is the founder and CEO of Pure Driven, one of the area's largest marketing companies. He is also the founder of Garage Starts, which works with entrepreneurs to guide them along their journey. Chris has spoken at several UMD classes in business and marketing. Tim White was the mentor to Will Holz. Tim has 20 years of experience in new product development focused on aerospace, mining, and consumer durables. Recently, he has led an initiative to design, manufacture, and sell an inexpensive water filter for the developing world. He has started 3 of his own successful businesses. Eric Faust was the mentor to Rosas. Eric is the founder and owner of the local Duluth coffee company shop. Eric has found a passion for coffee and has been published in national coffee publications like Fresh Cup and Roast Magazine. In the past, he has served as the United States Barista Championship judge and has traveled around the world visiting cafes and roasters. Tom Sega was the mentor to Dalton. Tom, as of 2007, is the CEO of Duluth Pack. Since his arrival at Duluth Pack, the company has expanded from a regional outdoors mainstay into a global network. They have recently expanded in 2017 to Spring Creek manufacturing paddleboard accessories and industrial truck racks. Thank you to the mentors for all the work and support you have provided our competitors tonight. Now let's meet our judges. Amy Ronneberg. Amy is the CEO of Be the Match, a nonprofit operated by the National Marrow Donor Program. Amy started Be the Match in July of 2013 as the CFO before being titled as the first ever CEO of the company. She has won several awards throughout her career, amplifying her outstanding work. Lilly Hall. Lilly is the CEO of Knock, a Minneapolis-based independent creative agency leading strategic brand development and design. Lilly founded Knock in 2001 with a commitment to impeccable client service. Rick Lampton. Rick is a Duluth restaurateur, being the managing partner of a handful of local Duluth and Superior restaurants, including Grizzlies, 7 West, 310 Pub, and Blue Rock Coffee, to name a few. Rick fell in love with the Duluth culture and area and recently just opened Weeping Willow Heartfelt's gift shop. Each of the next 5 teams will have 5 minutes to pitch their idea or business to the judges, to which the judges will have 5 minutes to ask questions. After the pitches are completed, the judges will be leaving us to deliberate to choose the most creative idea, the best business plan, and the grand prize. At that time, we will ask you as the audience to weigh in and select the Audience Choice Award. We will launch a poll at that time and remind you of who everyone is so you can cast your vote for the best idea or business. Now, without further ado, let's meet our first contestants. Our first pitch tonight will be from Allyson and Madison. Madison Brenengen is studying cultural entrepreneurship and Spanish here at UMD. She will be graduating in the fall of 2021. She has plans to pursue work in the local tourism industry after graduation. Allyson Hilgeman is a 4th-year student majoring in cultural entrepreneurship and a minor in psychology. She has participated in various business projects throughout her university career, which has taught her the value of world connectedness through project innovation and creation. Allyson hopes to continue her studies after graduation to continue utilizing the design process to bring cultural meaning into business, service, and product innovation. Tonight, they will be pitching their idea, Travel Bug. Allyson and Madison, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Think about a time when you traveled to another city, maybe here in the US, maybe abroad for work, leisure, or like us, for study. Maybe you were sitting in your hotel room, bored out of your mind, tired of sifting through your endless pamphlets and Google searches for the best things to do. Maybe you found something to do or see, but it's overcrowded and honestly leaves you feeling kind of empty. As a visitor, you are pointed to the most popular places or things to do in a city. But what about those hidden gems? For example, if you're traveling to Duluth, you are going to probably go to Canal Park and Anger Tower. And while those are great, they don't necessarily display the full richness of a culture an individual can discover in Duluth. What about exploring the Lincoln Craft District or Art in the Alley? How about having an authentic experience with the local art, culture, food, or even the outdoors? By the way, This is likely the experience of the 2.5 million tourists that travel to Duluth every year.
We know that the tour industry is huge. In fact, in 2019, the tourism industry generated about $1.4 trillion in revenue. Think about it. The $1.4 trillion of revenue was most likely generated through checklisting mainstream tourist attractions that people travel to see once. However, imagine being able to provide a culturally and locally meaningful experience that attracts the return of visitors. We return to places that make us feel connected. Of course, we have the big players that dominate the market, like Airbnb, Expedia, and TripAdvisor. However, each has limitations. Sometimes they have tours of 20 strangers, and you have to book them in advance. Airbnb provides a unique opportunity for a local to host an experience, but these too have to be booked in advance, sometimes weeks or even months.
This is where TravelBug comes in. Everyone to look have maybe a smartphone that you're sitting next to, maybe even better. The average American household has tech devices. 81% of Americans own a smartphone. Now, think about the apps that you have. Facebook, Uber, and we are living in the digital age. So why not enjoy the travel experience by using the devices in our back pockets?
TravelBug is an app designed to connect tourists with local tour guides from the community instantly for an authentic and unique cultural experience. How does it work? Let's say Abby is in Duluth for the day, and she wants to break the barriers between being a tourist and connecting with the local culture. She knows Duluth is a big hiking area, so she wants to experience a hidden trail. She downloads TravelBug, creates her profile, enters her adventure preferences, and gets connected with a guide who will tailor to her desires. On the other side, Jonathan is a Duluthian. He knows these hidden trails like Chester Park. He too downloads the app, creates his profile, enters his adventure preferences, and connects with the tourist to share his culture and expand his social capital.
We believe that there is a huge opportunity here. In the US, 21% of travelers book tours online. Even for a small city like Duluth, that means that there's 735,000 travelers that might be looking for a unique experience. Now, think about the 400 cities like Duluth around the country and a host of larger metropolitan areas. We are not even looking at the international potential here.
We emphasize on a positive customer experience from the time customers search our app to the time they finish with their tours. We strive to leave the lasting impression of a cultural experience that will leave everybody feeling fulfilled.
Yes, we know what you were all thinking. How will TravelBug make money? TravelBug will charge a $25 flat rate per hour, and from that, we will collect a 25% commission fee from each transaction. Given that our average tour time is around 5 hours, we will collect $31.25 per tour. We will also sell advertisements on our app and our website as another form of revenue. Within our first year of operation, TravelBug projects to capture 1% of the market share, which would be around 7,350 tours. This leaves us with $918,000 in sales revenue in the first year. For year 2 and 3, we plan on having about a 2 to 3% revenue growth. Given that our startup costs are about $100,000, we look to have a break-even year in our second year of operation.
So what makes us better? We are the first industry player providing an app platform for easy, fast, and unique opportunities to experience local culture. TravelBug gives local individuals an opportunity to highlight their community and culture while making money and doing something they love. Nothing is better than sharing an experience and creating a story with another individual. With TravelBug, you can go anywhere. Pull out your phone and connect instantly. As a team of passionate travelers, we understand how valuable this is. So based on our experiences studying abroad, we are revolutionizing the way people choose to travel.
So are you ready to jump on that bandwagon of local tourism and join TravelBug today? Thank you for taking time out of your busy day, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may have about TravelBug. Thank you.
Thank you, Allyson and Madison. We're going to begin at judges' questions with Amy. Take it away.
Sorry, I was so excited. Thank you for that great presentation. I guess my question is if you can speak a little bit more about the target market, and when you think about all the travelers there are, who is that 1% that you're going to be targeting to start with?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking to targeting people under the age of 30. When people start to get to the age of 30, that's when they start to have families and maybe they have young families, so they're not quite traveling a lot. And also we find that people from the age of like 20 to 30 are much more trusting and used to that technological aspect of our app.
Thank you. I have a question about, you mentioned in your presentation the repeat experience or do you have any data on how many people repeat an experience?
The data that we had collected shows that, well, just in general, like in travel experience, a lot of us like to checklist like popular tourist attractions, such as like we want to go to Canal Park to visit Canal Park because it's famous. However, when we create a connection with like a place or a moment, it's likelier that we'll go back.
Thank you. And Rick, your question?
Yes, how do you plan on educating the people that travel to the area to find your app?
So
yeah, go ahead, Maddie. Yeah, that's a great question. So we're going to plan on communicating, engaging interest specifically in Duluth with our local clubs as far as Women Hike Duluth, Twin Port Foodies, Art in the Alley, and other local businesses, as well as connecting with the university's recreations programs. So for the University of Minnesota Duluth, the RSOP program, as well as certain ones at Scholastica and Lake Superior College. Along with that, we plan on engaging, promoting through social media, and you really using that as our target market is also a little bit younger. They're probably going to be using that social media aspect of it a little more as well.
Fantastic. Amy, do you have another question?
Sure. How are you going to vet the individuals that are being hired to make sure from a safety perspective and skill perspective?
Yep. So in regards to the tour guides, we've done a lot of research on safety models such as Bumble and Tinder, which are both applications that consist of strangers kind of meeting each other together. So what we've come up with is we will have a platform on our website and app that will come up with cautionary guidelines of what to expect and what the risk is of agreeing to meet a tourist and a tour guide together. And then also we will have geolocation, background check abilities, infrastructure, and video call confirmation, and the ability to cancel on the tour at any time should the tourist feel uncomfortable or the tour guide on the other side of that.
Amazing. Lily, do you have another question?
I don't. Thank you.
Rick, do you have another question?
Nope, I am good. Thank you.
Awesome. So moving on to our second pitch tonight. Our second pitch will be from Zachariah. Zachariah Coughlin has been passionate about entrepreneurship for as long as he can remember. His entrepreneurial spirit has led him on many interesting endeavors, such as selling snacks from his middle school locker, pitching a diaper recycling process as a national innovation competition, and now competing in the 2021 UMD Startup Cup competition. Zachariah will graduate in May of 2022 with a double major in mechanical engineering and computer science. He is eager to pitch his idea tonight for Zachariah. The floor is yours.
Great, thank you. 2 days ago, UMD finally began registration for 2021 fall semester. It may be hard to tell during the global pandemic, but course registration is pretty stressful. During registration times, students need to help to ensure that they are on track for graduation. In other words, professors and advisors' calendars are filled to the brim with tedious and exhausting student appointments. A few honest professors might even confess that this is the worst part of their job. Luckily, there is a better way, and that's what I'm excited to tell you about today. However, before we get to that, let's take a look at the 3 degree tracking and exploration tools currently available to UMD students: APAS, Grad Planner, and Academic Advisors. Nearly every UMD student uses APAS to keep an eye on their degree progress. APAS lists completed and outstanding course requirements, but doesn't do much else. Much of its utility could be replaced with your transcript and your degrees catalog page. Grad Planner is a bit more advanced than APAS in that it allows you to drag and drop courses onto a 4-year plan. This is great, don't get me wrong, but this manual method is not foolproof. For example, if you placed one course before its prerequisite, you would never know you had an issue until you actually went to register, which could force you into a 5th year, costing you thousands of dollars. Without safeguards and feedback, Grad Planner is little more than a glorified spreadsheet. The last tool is your academic advisor. Whether this person is a professor or a general advisor, they come with a wealth of knowledge, not only in regard to degree requirements, but in career and life experience. Advisor meetings should be a great experience for everyone involved, but this is just not reality. These meetings are exhausting for advisors who every semester must sit through tens of meetings just to manually check each student's APAS to ensure they are on track for graduation. And with so much time spent on this sterile process, students usually miss out on the opportunity to develop mentor-like relationships with their advisor. I can certainly attest to that in my experience. However, today I am introducing a product that frees advisors' time and obligations so that they can get right down to the important stuff, developing relationships with students. This is called Foresight. Foresight is a degree planning tool that generates ideal degree plans for students. With a push of a button, any student using Foresight can walk into their advising meeting with a detailed plan and confidently tell their advisor which courses they need to achieve their goals and graduate on time. This means students and faculty can spend less time counting credits and more time building bonds. The coolest thing about Foresight is its flexibility. Perhaps a student wants to take summer classes, study abroad, or graduate in 3 years. Foresight can plan around all these situations and many more. With each customization they make, students will be able to instantly tell if their plans are possible and if they are on track for graduation. Students can even save multiple plans so that they can weigh their options and discuss them with their advisors. Universities will be able to purchase yearly licenses to Foresight. Yearly licenses for out-of-house student-facing software are very common. For example, UMD already pays a yearly license to use Presence.io, the official Bulldog student group service. Prices would vary depending on the size of the institution and the complexity of their course catalogs. For UMD, our early estimates are around $8,000. With over 25,000 universities worldwide, you can see that this product has a large market with great opportunities for annual revenues. Foresight is currently in its prototype stage, but if you would like to take a look at our current progress, go to getforesight.com now. There you will find product markups like these, as well as a story of how Foresight inspired me to pursue a degree in computer science. Regardless of the outcome tonight, this summer, Foresight's alpha prototype will be publicly available for all UMD students and faculty. However, with extra funding, we can make this service more sleek and scalable, and thus more marketable as a permanent solution to universities across the world. Academic advising needs help. Will you be part of the solution? Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Zachariah. So we're going to begin the judges' questions with Rick.
What research have you done with the professors for how they feel this would benefit them?
I've not done any concrete research out of informal stuff, but speaking with people that are heads in with the advising appointments in the biology department, mechanical engineering, computer science, this is a pretty widespread problem. It's very stressful, and I need to do more research, but I'm confident that I would find what I'm pitching here tonight.
Thank you. Amy, your question?
Sure. How do you plan on marketing to your target market?
Yeah, that's actually the trickiest part. I'm hoping that this contest and some other pitch competitions will expose this idea to specifically students in the UMN system, and with this alpha prototype this summer, get them on board and see, you know, this is very cool. This is unlike anything you've seen before. And then using that to build relationships with other schools in the surrounding area.
And Lily, your question?
My question's around trademark naming and branding. Have you done research to see if the name, maybe it sounds like you have a beta out there. Do you know if the actual name is available to trademark?
There was a lot of hoops to jump through to get the foresight going, but yeah, foresight is fine. The way I spell it and the capitalization, there's nothing like that out there.
Rick, do you have another question? And
I do not.
Amy, do you have
I
another
do not.
question? Lily, do you have another question?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Our third pitch tonight will be from Will. Will Holz is double majoring in management and finance and will graduate in spring of 2022. His plans after graduation consist of being admitted into the 4+1 MBA program at UMD. His entrepreneurial spirit stems from his youth. His father owns his own business in Bixby, Minnesota, and this has led to Will starting and owning and operating his own business in his hometown of Byron, Minnesota. He looks forward to continuing to learn and to grow from his own business and to use the newly acquired skills to better himself and others in his future personal and professional life. Tonight, he will be pitching us his business, Total Lawn. Will, take it away.
All right, good evening, everyone. As you guys heard, my name is Will Holtz, and I have owned and operated a lawn and landscape business in Rochester, Minnesota for the past 4 years. Today, I want to share with you an idea that is going to change the lawn and landscaping industry as we know it. Next slide, please. I'm sure I can speak for all of us in the fact that we all want a property as picture perfect as the one in the background. It has perfect striping, clean sidewalk and driveway edges. There isn't a single weed in the entire property. It is an achievable utopia. Next slide, please. However, here is the sad reality of it. If you end up trying to do this work by yourself, it is often extremely grueling and time consuming, and chances are you're not going to be very good at it. There are a ton of variables that play into making a lawn look beautiful, such as soil concentration, grass type, or weathering patterns. And when you finally do cry uncle, here is the second reality. Next slide, please. You have to hire a basic lawn maintenance company. We've all seen these types of companies, junky truck, old mowers, and a lack of necessary skills and knowledge among other factors. Working with these companies often have long quotation processes and high levels of miscommunication. I know that we've all been there. No matter how hard you try, even after pouring tons of money into trying to communicate with these companies what you want, the outcome leaves you less than satisfied, often frustrated, and sometimes even leaves your property worse off than it was to begin with. Next slide, please. First of all, I want to say that I hear you. These are problems that I experience and get feedback on from customers on a daily basis. That's actually the reason why I created my company. I knew there had to be a better way to do lawn care, and I knew that I could take this model to the next level. Next slide, please. I am passionate and care about solving problems for my customers. Focusing on the improvement of the end user experience was solution number one. Making sure to communicate efficiently and effectively to be on the same page with every client creates high levels of trust and also provides a more enjoyable end user experience from the customer's point of view. I want to be able to build relationships and get to know the individuals and businesses that I have the opportunity to provide services for. My clients are paying me their hard-earned money, and they want to be able to trust that I will get the job done in an efficient and effective manner. Building these relationships with my clientele enhances the interpersonal relationships for both parties involved, and always leaves both my company and my customers better off than they were previously. Next slide, please. I'm going to focus on utilizing tools and solutions that are going to be a win for both my business and also for my customers. Here's how my business is going to gain a competitive advantage within the lawn care industry. We will use route planning tools to decrease my company's downtime and to provide customers with the peace of mind that I will complete their service on time. My company will utilize a satellite picture quoting system to negate the need of having to drive to a customer's property and also decrease the amount of time it takes for a customer to get a response back from myself on a requested service quote. I will also reform my billing experience and implement a subscription-based model that will allow me to pull money directly from my customers' bank accounts whenever I send out an invoice. An example of this is Spotify's subscription service, where once a month, a previously agreed on price is pulled directly from the consumer's account, negating the need to pay for this service manually. This reform will not only make it easier for me to receive payments on time, but it will also increase the efficiency of the end user experience. Next slide, please. Like I said before, I'm passionate and care about solving problems for my clients. Startup funds will help decrease the financial burden of implementing a website and/or app to better improve the end user experience for my clients. By improving on the end user experience for my clientele and utilizing modern technologies and tools that will provide both my company and my clients with a win-win scenario, we will be able to do what has never been done before. We will revolutionize the lawn and landscaping industry as we know it and gain the ability to bring this industry into the modern era of technological conveniences, which it so desperately needs. Next slide, please. At this time, I want to open up any questions the board may have.
So we're going to start our judges' questions, this time with Lily.
Thank you for the presentation. I actually have, it's like a part one, part two. What if the customer wants to add on, what if they have some things that they need fixed, or how will they be able to add those additional potential services? And then part two would be around weather. What if you're rained out, or how are you going to handle reschedule?
I want to actually ask another question. So what type of services are you like asking such of that? Like for fixing stuff, for example, obviously it's my company policy that if we fix something or leave something not as you specified, we come back and fix it for free. I guess for something as in, let's say, for example, someone requests a weekly lawn care quote it for them, they accept it, and they decide they want to add on an aeration or a dethatching. The next process is most likely for those types of services, unless I've already been there, I'm going to, once again, use a satellite quoting system, send them a quote out, and it's as simple as that. Either they accept it or they deny it, and we add it to the service list. For the weather and stuff like that, once again, company policy, I text them and before the season here, and I let them know what days I'll be doing weekly mowing services on, and then aeration, dethatching, those are also, I'll text them a couple days before. And then for other services such as landscaping, that's just kind of on a varying basis. And with the weather, like to answer your question for the weather, I tell them, if it's raining, we're obviously not going to show up. It'll be the soonest day after that.
Thank you.
Thank you. A question from Amy.
Sure. Will, tell me a little bit about your margins and the business model.
So business model is I pay on a fee for service. So as of right now, for my weekly services, it's not like a weekly subscription where basically, like they say, I pay $50 a week, irregardless of how many times I cut it. I think that kind of backs people into a corner. So I like to focus on more of a base charge. For example, most of my lawn care properties are $35 per cut. Some may need it twice in the beginning of the season, and some may not need it all but every other 2 weeks in the end of the season. For the margins like that, we were at about a 68% profit margin this last season. We invested into quite a bit of quite a bit of new equipment this year, so I'm assuming that will be lower, and added on quite a few more clients like that. So I'm assuming it will be lower due to increased operating expenses.
Thank you. And Rick, sorry for jumping you. I noticed I went out of order. My bad. Rick, your question?
Yes, staffing is a huge problem in this day and age. How are you going to find the proper personnel to fulfill your goals?
So as of right now, I am running it solo, obviously due to increased profits and everything. It's easier to pay off loans and to pay for equipment running it solo, being a college student. But as we continue to expand and increase our market share, like I said, my focus is on end user experience. So my mindset behind that is to be able to hire a foreman to be able to provide the same quality and the same mindset of service that I would myself. I understand that will obviously cost more in terms of hourly or salary rate, but focusing and being that competitive advantage, I want to be able to hire an employee that shares a similar belief in providing the quality of service and care as I do.
Thank you. Lily, did you have another question?
I'm good, thank you.
Rick or Amy?
I do not.
How will you build your overall customer base?
So as of right now, we're, at least for the past 4 seasons here, we've been strictly word of mouth. As you can expect, a young student like myself obviously was unsure of where I wanted to take places. This is our first year we've gotten to a little bit of advertising. Obviously, with the increasing of word of mouth, people get a hold of stuff. We have to do a whole lot of advertising, but I've started to sponsor certain local events and I put my name in, I guess, so I can get advertising in that aspect. But that's one thing I look forward to learning in the future here. Through either the advertising consolidation package or just from mentors period, is learning how to advertise effectively for my industry.
Thank you, judges. Our fourth pitch knife will be from Rosas. Rosas Ramirez is currently studying graphic design and marketing at UMD, planning to graduate in May of 2021. He comes from a history of entrepreneurial practices, whether it was from his family's past or his own. Raised by immigrants, the lessons of service, persistence, and support carry into his business ideals. Rosas wishes to improve the lives of others through his work. He is currently studying graphic design and marketing at UMD, planning to graduate, and that is all repetition in my script here. He is sharing his idea, convivial comics, with us tonight. Rosas, the floor is yours.
A gentle wind passes over the sunlit rose garden. The petals grace his face and awaken him. A strange voice calls, "My name is Sophie. Save our home." There's nothing to remember. No past, no present, no name. But in front of him lies a sword, a shield, and a map. A cano is written, and a destination to be followed. He doesn't know where he is, but he knows where he must go. For in his heart, a sense of duty radiates. Sophie, Akeno asks himself, do I know her? He stumbles towards a sparkling river and drinks from its refreshing reservoir. The field is as still as rock, yet the presence of another stalks our hero. That was the verbal introduction to chapter 1 of the Variant Garden comic book. I hope you enjoyed 1 minute of what I plan to do for the rest of my life. That's create, entertain, and connect. You see, there's a common problem that many people face now. It's the lack of connectivity, a shared interest, and relief. What I'm planning on as a solution is convivial comics, whether it be stories or games or design. My goal is to change lives for the better. But okay, let's scale it back just a little bit. What specifically am I trying to produce right now? The main product would be comic books sold both digitally and in print. Some stories that I have include, some stories that I have in mind right now are The Variant Garden, A Knight Destined to Fight a Hellish Evil, and Wander About, a slice of life with magical elements, and many more, of course. These are what I want to focus on the initial phase of my business, growing an audience from these tales and then diversifying into a more expansive and complementary goods. So what about my stories? Make it worth for customers to pay? The answer is as simple as quality, discipline, and responsibility. It's important that a business not only services their customers with their products, but how that transaction can benefit the community as well. The market of comic books and cultural media is a highly respected and dedicated one. In 2019, the total sales of comic books and graphic novels were roughly $1.21 billion in North America alone. And looking into traditional comic shops, they made roughly $525 million the same year. And we take a look at our competitors, or my competitors in this market: Marvel, DC, Shonen, Shonen Jump, Dark Horse, or Image Comics. They do very similar things. And even though their more current profitable ventures are different than physical paperbacks, all those other things have the same root in comic panels. Speaking of which, the economic model I currently have is as follows. It's R&D, draft and creative work, finalization of media, print and distribution, advertising and marketing, sales, and then I invest back into the business. With minimal distractions, a chapter of a comic book can take up to a week or 2 weeks, including drafting and finalization. Print and distribution costs vary depending on the amount of prints and where it will be sold. A print of an issue can be anywhere from 40 to 74 cents per issue. Advertising so far has been done by me with software such as Movavi and Creative Cloud, costing roughly $600 per year as a non-student. Ads on social media sites are daily budgets, so that's flexible, whether it's $1 per day or more. That puts around $30 to $15 a month, depending. Any future sales I make go back into the business as an investment of the product and myself. The demands for such adventures is prevalent, and many people ask me, when will the next story be? When will the next game come? When will? With the money we're talking about today, I can further develop my main product line and build and maintain a website to host digital media, by improving tools such as printers, scanners, inking, all this other kind of stuff, and have a better presence on social media with better advertisement. With any financial backing, I plan to meet these demands. One page at a time, one person at a time, one step. Akeno hears a slow and steady pace come his way. He doesn't know whether it is friend or foe, but he is the one with the sword. Hands on the hilt, he slowly turns to face his ambiguous follower. His eyes widen, and a gentle smile starts to form. Convivial comics, entertain beyond the pages. And that's, yeah.
Thank you so much for both your pitch and your storytelling tonight. The judges' questions will begin with Amy.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. So these are your own stories?
Yes, these are my own stories.
And are there, I don't know this market as well, if with Marvel and others, do they have the audiobook type experience that you just shared, or would you be the first?
I think, well, it's a bit different because they have their comic books, and TV shows and animation like that are more so like an audio retelling of these stories. But having an audiobook version, I don't think is as prevalent with you guys.
Thank you. Our next question will be Lily.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Have you thought about, so it sounds like you have some cultural opportunities here. Have you thought about, would you translate these in different languages?
Yeah, for sure. Being a Spanish speaker and having, I'm not as fluent as, let's say, my parents, because I've lived here for quite a while, but I would definitely make sure to translate these to other regions as well, especially.
And then have you looked into, I mean, obviously this is new, but licensing opportunities with some of either the characters or the different stories?
That's something I haven't really thought of too much, but that's, it's possible.
Awesome. And our next question from Rick.
As far as startup and expenses, can you elaborate a little bit more on where you go with that and what that would be?
Yeah, so I already have some of the paper, pencils, rulers, and all this kind of other stuff. But buying other things such as printers and scanners, that can range from $100 to $200. Other things like website hosting domains, or having these test prints that cost a bit more. And in general, a lot of it right now is dependent on me. So that's something that have to coordinate just a bit more on. But yeah, it's mainly just me right now and the tools that I have.
Thank you, Amy. Do you have another question?
Yeah, so from a business model perspective, what is your break even? And is it a per purchase fee, or is there some type of fee structure you're thinking about?
Yeah, as of right now, it's per fee. I make one, I sell one. That's how it is, just being me. But typically, as comic books go, you usually print and sell in bulk, and then you make the money back through that, and then it's like a more of a positive. You get more revenue out of that.
Thank you, Lily. Did you have another question?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bravo.
And Rick?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're moving on to our final pitch tonight, which will be from Dalton. Dalton Scharmer is a civil engineering major who will be graduating in May 2021. He will be staying to get his master's in civil engineering with a focus in bridge design with an expected graduation date of December 2022. Dalton enjoys reading about entrepreneurship, tax code, and personal finance. The extroverted personality that we all see tonight is the reason he enjoys interacting with others so much and has made him consider a career in sales at one point early on in his college career. He is excited to use the 2021 Startup Cup as an opportunity to combine his engineering background, passion for business, and extroverted personality to showcase a product he has designed and built himself. Tonight, he will be sharing his idea for a special needs product. Dalton, take it away.
Hi, my name is Dalton Scharmer, and this is my product for UMD Startup Cup 2021. It's called Teaching Toys. Teaching Toys is a product specifically designed for children with special needs. Next slide, please. The inspiration for this toy comes from my sister on the bottom right of my family photo here on the screen. She was born with a learning disability, and she struggled to use some of the toys and things that us other siblings enjoyed growing up. She just struggled with some of the way they worked. And so when Miss Grover here on the right asked me 3 years ago to help her design toys for a research project she was doing for a child with special needs, I of course said yes. And this is what we came up with. Next slide, please. But first, let's back up a second. Let's ask what the problem really is we're trying to fix here. Well, first and foremost, there's a huge lack of manufactured toys accessible for children with special needs. There's no inclusivity in mind with the design behind most products. And children with special needs is by no means a small percentage of students in the United States. On the screen, you can see that 7.1 million students, or 14% of all students, received some form of special education in the year of 2018-2019. And this demographic is only growing. On average, 100,000 students over the last 7 years. And what products are on the market right now available for students with special needs, they're so expensive that parents, frankly, can't afford them. They're having to do it themselves. And so we see this as a huge hole in the market and something that we can really capitalize and fill. Next slide, please. And so what is the solution to this? Well, first and foremost, I believe that this solution has to be a physical product, nothing virtual. We spend so much time, as tonight, on a Zoom call, looking at screens. How many kids do you see playing on iPads? No, that's not how most of us grew up. We need a physical toy to promote hand-eye coordination and a physical presence so they can push these blocks through holes like most of us did when we were children. This toy also forces these children to recognize familiar shapes and unfamiliar objects. The object on your screen you see here is 3D printed and is something I designed myself. And it's something that unlike anything anyone's ever seen. These tracks link together and you can rearrange the holes in any order you want. And even the act of connecting the holes takes two hands and takes hand-eye coordination. And again, there's nothing like this on the market today. Next slide, please. And the research Miss Grover did backs this up. In the same research project, we had about 7 other prototypes designed with this inclusivity in mind for this child with cerebral palsy. He was the main test subject. And so she found that these toys with inclusivity in mind that were given to the student to play with engaged him much, much more than a traditional toy off the shelf from like a Walmart or Target. And it's because it's designed specifically for them. There's intent behind everything that goes into the products, and that's why he enjoyed them more. And the most important thing is that when he's playing, when children are playing, they're learning as they do so. None of us learn from the sidelines. We learn by doing. That's how we learn best. Next slide, please. And so we know that this is a good idea. We know there's a market. We think we have the solution, but how do we get it to market? How do we get into the hands of children? Well, first and foremost, we have to get a patent on this design. We have to own the intellectual property rights so that when we go out and try to seek a licensing deal with a toy manufacturer, we own that. We'd look to get a licensing deal with a toy manufacturer like Hasbro or Lego, one of like the big companies. And the reason that we're going for a licensing deal instead of trying to do it ourselves is that they have all of the branding, all the advertisement, all the marketing ability. And frankly, in order for us to establish that ourselves, it would not be effective. A licensing deal is the most efficient and effective way to get this product from a prototype into the hands of as many children as possible. And that's one of the benefits of pitching a product like this versus a business model. For one, there's no overhead. This product has sat in my room on my shelf for about 18 months and hasn't cost me a dime. There's no employees. There's really minimum startup costs too. Getting a patent costs money, yes, but compared to most businesses where there's a $20,000, $100,000, maybe even $500,000 startup cost, we don't have to rent office space. We don't have to hire employees. Once we have a licensing deal, Lego and Hasbro takes care of all of that for us. And once we have this licensing deal, then the product's pretty much self-sustaining. We don't have to provide a service, so we don't physically have to be there. This isn't like a plumbing service where you need a plumber to go into a house, pull the toilet out and put a new one, or replace a water heater. That's not what we're doing. We're not providing a service, it's a product. And I think that keeping the end in mind, beginning with the end in mind, is so key, and that's what's gonna help make us successful. And finally, I just wanna end with that while this toy is designed specifically for children with special needs, all children of all ages would benefit from this product. It's going to teach them to move things with their mind's eye, see how objects fit together. Moving things in our mind and seeing if they would fit and where conflict points might be is something as an engineer I have to do all the time. And if we can instill and teach these children these lessons early in life through the toys that they're playing with, it's going to set them up for success further down the road. And thinking with the mind's eye isn't just for STEM majors, it's for all majors. Being able to visualize, see where you're going, that's the key. And that's why I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight to ask for your support so that you can help us get this product into the hands of as many children as possible, as quickly as possible. We can't do this alone. And we truly believe that this product will help children develop as they mature into their adolescence. It's amazing what could happen if there's a teacher within the toys that our kids are playing with. Next slide, please. These are the references that I mentioned. The research paper earlier is on the top, and then where I pulled the statistics from. After that, next slide. And now I'm going to open it up to questions from the judges.
Thank you, Dalton. We will start our judges' questions with Rick.
You talked about all you have to do is get a licensing agreement. Have you researched that at all and have any leads? Because it's a bigger project than you may think it is.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, Hasbro would host annual toy fairs. And so every year it was out in like New York City, it was on the East Coast. And they would have it where you could submit a toy idea, you could bring a prototype, and then you would basically have it there for them to come view, talk to you, and those are some of the formal events. Obviously, right now in the middle of a global pandemic, there are some limitations on those face-to-face interactions because frankly, mass gatherings aren't happening. But reaching out and getting in touch with some of their sales reps would be a way. It'd be like a business-to-business relationship.
Thank you. Our next question will be from Amy.
Dalton, so do you have other products, or is this a one product type deal that you would work with directly with one of these toy vendors?
So this is my only product right now. It's not to say that something wouldn't come up down the road. I know Ms. Grover is currently going back to school to get a manufacturing degree in engineering, and we've talked about possibly making a partnership because that's her true passion. This one was just one that I made for help with the research project. So currently, yes, this is the only toy that we have available, but that's not to say that more couldn't come down the road as we continue to think of other iterations. We've thought about putting wheels on it because children love wheels and making it into a train. And so children can wheel it around and then connect them like train cars.
Thank you. And Lily.
Hey, Dalton, I think I'm wondering if it feels a little broad. Have you thought about like segmenting this specific product to certain age groups versus ability? I mean, I think it feels maybe like you need more, you either need to limit the segment or add to the breadth of the opportunity.
Yeah, so as far as like age groups, obviously this wouldn't be a product marketed to say like 18-year-olds. Where I really see this product hitting home is about 2 to like 7, 8. Currently, I have a niece that's 2.5, and she was very fascinated by it when I brought it home over Easter. And similarly, I've seen kids play with it who are around that 4 or 5-year-old range, and that seems to be the age where they really like it. And so yeah, like between like 2 and then like 7 is kind of the age bracket. Does that answer your question?
Maybe. But are they special needs kids, or who have you been testing this with?
So the one subject in the research product was a child with cerebral palsy. And so he has a bad hand. That's why having a bigger model. So I have a small model that's about 3.5 inches the size of like the circle or the object that you see, which I have with me today. So it's about 3.5 inches. I have another model, which was my original one, that's a size 6. So it's about 6 inches. And so what's interesting is that based on the size, you can promote either they have to use 2 hands or you can have them focus on 1 hand. And so obviously a 2-year-old would struggle lifting a 6-inch block. These are 3D printed, they would be plastic molded in the future. But yeah, so a 2-year-old would struggle with a 6-inch one, but a 3-inch one, they'd be able to manage.
Okay, thank you.
Rick, did you have another question?
I do not.
Amy, did you have another question?
I don't know the toy industry very well. So when you talk about license, how does that business model actually look? What's the average license agreement that's out there? Or do they tend to focus more on just pure acquisition?
As far as a licensing deal are you talking about a licensing deal from the manufacturer or the patent itself?
No, from the manufacturer.
So currently I don't have a lot of details about what specifically they look for in those licensing agreements. Typically it's royalties, I know. From what I have read up and seen other product companies who have done something similar, or different entrepreneurs who have done something similar, a lot of times it's just royalties based on how many units sell. And so that's where I would suspect it would fall, is just a royalties and then something like that over a term agreement.
And Lily, do you have a final question? Awesome. Well, thank you so much to all of the contestants. It was so great to hear all the fantastic ideas and the amazing questions from our judges. At this time, I would invite the judges to go ahead and turn off their cameras and head off to the deliberation room. While the judges deliberate on the Most Innovative Ideas Award and the Best Business Model and the grand prize, it is time for us to get your input on the Audience Choice Award. Please check out the slide on the screen to remind yourself of who presented on what and vote who you think is the best pitch or business on the poll that was just launched. After you voted, hold tight while our judges finish up their discussions. We will be back in a moment.
Am I on the right? Am I in the right place?
Hi, Lily, you are in the webinar still. There may be another link. One of the team members will get you that.
Oh, sorry.
You are all good. Hey all, our judges are in tight deliberation in their deliberation room, so it will be just a few minutes longer than we expected, but hang in there and we will be right with you with results. Well, welcome back. So thank you all. Judges, I see all of your cameras are back on. Our judges have come to their conclusions. But before we do that, we have our audience choice. So thank you for everyone who voted. With 113 people voting, the Audience Choice Award and the prize of $500 goes to Dalton Scharmer with a special needs product. Now, before I turn it over to the judges for the awards, I wanted to thank all of you for coming. You have been a great audience, and I've enjoyed being your MC. Congratulations to all of our contenders today. Great work to all of you. Now to the judges with the awards.
So that's me, right? With the most innovative. Is that right, Aaron? Thank you, Aaron.
Yes, perfect.
After discussing with the judges, the most innovative award goes to Travel Bug. Am I still here? Everybody there? Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that is a $1,000 prize. And now I'm going to hand it over to Rick.
Perfect.
Thank you, Lily. After deliberating, the Best Business Model Award and the prize of $1,000 goes to Total Lawn, Will Holz. Thank you for your, thank you for your time, and turn over to Amy.
Yes, Amy, and for our last prize.
Yes, thank you, Rick. After much discussion, the grand prize of $1,500 in a consultation package with Finden Marketing goes to Rosas Ramirez with Convival Comics. Congratulations, and congratulations to all the contestants. I will now turn it back over to Mikena.
Thank you all for coming tonight. On behalf of the planning team, we'd like to thank everyone for coming. As a reminder, we did take note of everyone here to document for passport credit. I would like to thank our sponsors again, North Shore Federal Credit Union, Finden Marketing, and the Labovitz School of Business and Economics. Tonight would not be possible without the support of our sponsors and so many others. The planning team and I would like to thank all the mentors who worked with the contestants this year: Janelle Jones, Chris Swanson, Tim White, Eric Faust, and Tom Sega. We would also like to thank our 3 amazing judges: Lili Hall, Amy Ronneberg, and Rick Lampton, as well as our 6 incredible contestants: Madison Brenengen, Allyson Hilgeman, Zachariah Coughlin, Will Holz, Rosas Ramirez, and Dalton Scharmer. Tonight would not have been possible without the support of Dean Amy Hatapelto, Associate Dean Praveen Agarwal, our faculty advisor Dr. Kenyaya Sinha, and our staff advisor Katie Shernick, and our phenomenal MC Aaron Ressler. Lastly, I would want to thank all of you for supporting this event tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. From all of us on the planning team, have a great night and stay safe.
Bravo, thank you.